you're with LoraxLive, coming at you 6 days a week, 24 hours GMT on a non-plus radio on non-ops and 100.1 Pirate Radio in SoCal. Thanks for tuning in. What does it mean when WikiLeaks publishes a trove of documents hacked by Anonymous from the strategic intelligence firm Stratfor, a trove that apparently details a massive electronic spying system run by the US government, and is then hit by a massive and sustained distributed denial of service attack that prevents journalists and people at large from examining the documents in question. I can't be the only person that finds that just a tad suggestive. We've got our next guest on the line, Barrett Brown. How you doing, mate? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me again.
Great to have you back, mate. Look, the news about the world today is Trapwire. Former senior intelligence officials have created a detailed surveillance system more accurate than modern facial recognition technology and have installed it across the US under the radar of most Americans. According to the emails, you our resident expert on these Stratfor emails. You want to tell us a bit more about what you found, mate, with your tracking?
Something fundamental I want to mention first is that when these Stratfor emails, when it came to light that Anonymous had given these to WikiLeaks and that WikiLeaks had begun publishing them, there was a sort of an article, opinion piece by Atlantic editor. It was very widely cited, claiming that the company Stratfor was being overbilled and that WikiLeaks and everybody involved were naive for thinking these were important.
Yeah.
And the reasoning was basically is that the Wikipedia page on this company Stratfor had a quote from U.S. Senator Anderson calling it the shadow CIA. And a lot of journalists, when they heard the story, they report quotes like that, like it was reported live. So despite the fact that no one involved in this process was saying it was overbilling or exaggerating Stratfor, but was instead saying that probably there's going to be some useful information here, they were attacked for it by these people who have no business talking about the issue. And I just want to notice this is one more thing that it has, again, given us this opportunity, thanks to WikiLeaks and thanks to the anons involved, including, several who are probably, going to suffer for it. Now we know this. So beyond that, here's the main thing that hasn't been pointed out. It's like I just realized a couple hours ago. I'm kind of late to the story. The company that does Trapwire, which, as you said, is this very all-encompassing, very, very pervasive and high-end surveillance system using cameras.
Yeah.
The same company, Abraxas, is also very much connected to the high-end persona management industry in this country. It was purchased years ago by Cubic, but before Cubic bought Abraxas had bought Anonymizer, which is discussed by in emails as something that has yielded to high traffic.
Yeah.
And then out of that talent, Abraxas Cubic created Intrepid, which won Sitcom's 2010 persona management bid. Persona management, of course, is fake virtual armies of people with fake biographies and some software to help the human operator control 20 people at a time in order to infiltrate and put out information. So this is something that hopefully persona management will once again get a chance to actually get the attention it merits from the media at large, as it hasn't before.
Yep.
Back to the issue of Trapwire itself, again, this is the exact kind of thing that the better tech journalists plus activists, particularly Anonymous and whatever else, this is the kind of thing that can be very, very effective on. Yeah. All this takes in order to get this issue firmly into the public imagination and firmly into congressional action in the U.S. and parliamentary action within various facets of the EU and elsewhere is for a massive information campaign supported by whatever else, including DDoS attacks if necessary. There's Abraxas, their website is down as of 20 minutes ago, taken out by someone who nice enough to tell me about it, and it's good work there. This is the exact kind of thing Anonymous can do effectively that will have a great deal of value in terms of bringing focus to what needs to be focused on now, not like a year from now, but now before this thing gets out of hand.
Yeah.
It's argued that it's already out of hand.
Yeah, it's already out of hand. I mean, the employee roster at Abraxas reads like a who's who of agents once with the Pentagon, CIA, and other government entities. And this is all public information available on LinkedIn. And the corporation's ties are assumed to go deeper than that, that are even documented publicly as well. The technology is quite scary, and just want to draw attention to CENTCOM. I know you're tracking CENTCOM, and the recent contracts that they've announced talking about this persona management. with CENTCOM. About 3 months ago, I did a story on it, and it seems like they're pushing forward with this persona management and now this video project. But it seemed we thought they were only just starting. But this Strap 4 emails draw light on that. It's been going for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's to be expected. I mean, always, even those of us who spend all of our time obsessing over this issue and reading about it, we're always late to the party. It's by policy. It's almost their job, the job of the intelligence communities and military infrastructures around the world to stay ahead of the game and to have a lead on technology. So obviously, having latest technology is a huge advantage. It's their absolute job and policy to have it. And that's one more thing that comes to the problem, such that when things like, for instance, persona management do get leaked, the level of knowledge among the general public of what is possible right now, what's viable, and what's being pursued is always going to be below what's actually the case. It's not going to sound like conspiracy theory or far-fetched. You see articles that always begin, even with special technologies, articles that begin, by a bad science writer saying, it sounds like something out of science fiction, that kind of thing, which increases the instill mentality that there's something that's somehow it's just not possible. We got in 2012, and none of us have a full picture or anything complete picture of what the totality of our capabilities are by our theirs.
Yeah, and we talked about this with Professor Phillips this morning, my first guest on. He's a professor at the Sonoma State University there. He was talking about how the government does use techniques to basically by labelling people crackpots with the label of conspiracy theorists as such. I mean, this is where things like this persona management will come in, and basically by labelling these things, conspiracies, automatically it shuns the mainstream media and sort of people on the fence away from considering the information in the first place. So I think it's very important to get this out.
Anyone who uses that type of conspiracy as an argument against its reality is incapable of thinking reasonably. I mean, I'm a former columnist for Skeptical Inquirer. I've been for Skeptic, and at the same time, there are several things that are called conspiracy theories, including in Russia, the apartment bombings. That if you actually take time to look at the facts, which most people don't, and look at the releases by organizations internationally, there are obviously a number of incidents in which, yes, conspiracies are pursued by governments just like they are by 6 or 8 girls who don't like one of their friends. Conspiracies are everywhere. Mankind is very conspiratorial by nature. There's obviously a process you have to go to make sure you're saying evidence when making false connections. Yeah, it needs to be every professor conspiracy theory does deserve a degree of attention.
No, that's right. And this is why those emails are so important in pointing out that they're not merely theories, but they are fact and they are happening right now. And we'll keep an eye out on more information.
I was on that thing. I should just know real quick. It would be wonderful to see a few less hundred anonymous videos with that soundtrack. The rapper going Illuminati. You'll never take control. That's hard to start. And it's probably having a great deal of help for both of us who have to go out there and talk.
Well, it does. We want to keep a clear and focused message, and talking about sometimes getting a little bit too far into the tinfoil hat scenarios, we tend to distract people away from the real facts and the real truth. So I agree with you on that point there. Look, I'm just checking out the anti-leaks, Twitter page at the moment. It looks like the attack, they've tweeted the attack is well over 10 gigabits per second to WikiLeaks and its partners and associates. I mean, it's a huge DDoS attack to last for a week. It's not done by any kids, that's for sure. I can pretty much guarantee that. This is for a coordinated effort with some amount of power, much like the similar power that happened at Pirate Bay with the Opdemonoid thing recently, and also the Pirate Bay attack a few months ago as well. Very similar setup. It wouldn't surprise me if the NSA is using partners like the Israelis to jump in and help out on this one.
The problem is there's so many culprits out there. That's what makes it hard to narrow down. Hard to suppress culpability. It also doesn't help that our international law enforcement agencies are generally only interested in enforcing laws when those laws are allegedly broken in the direction of powerful or those close to governments, and not say when it's west.
Yeah, right on there. So give us, look, do you have any more insight regarding these Strat4 emails that haven't come to light yet? Something that we can't see while WikiLeaks is down, something that was, do you know anything that was supposed to be released at all?
No, I actually was never, even though I was close to that in certain ways, I was never in possession of them. I have nothing in terms of those emails that is not already out public. I don't have any secrets on that. Yeah. The things that I have that's useful that most people don't know are involve other subjects.
So from an anonymous standpoint, those emails are already out there. It's just a matter of the information getting dragged out of them, you might say, and made public. Is there any way anonymous can get in because I'm pretty sure there's these emails out in different formats, that we can repost it and decentralize it away from WikiLeaks to get the message out, get those facts from those emails out?
I actually don't know where the links are exactly. That's I haven't, because I haven't gone through them myself. I've just got other things been pursuing, and I'm reasonably confident that WikiLeaks will get some of the major things. So I'm not the best person to ask that, but that's definitely something that that's a good idea. So that's something to think about right now. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not. Unfortunately, I don't know myself, but let's find out where they are. Let's get onto it ourselves, I think, and decentralize that leaking process. I mean, paranoia is up as well. Maybe we could dump that same information on there. Unfortunately, it might get hit. Paranoia might get hit as well. Look, moving on from the WikiLeaks trapwire thing, you wanted to talk about, we were talking the other day about problems with IRC and looking at alternatives. What strikes you as the most problematic, sort of in general, with Anonymous, the problematic issues?
I think there's two kind of connected issues that are very fundamental, that are most responsible for time being wasted for the reasons that people originally really come to Anonymous and not somewhere else, for them to not be satisfied in those pursuits. I think one of the two things is that there's no quality control. As in, one of the things that helps Anonymous in a lot of ways is that anyone can come in, and by virtue of that, can quickly get started. There's no leader who may be incompetent, who's going to tell people that they can't do this thing, that kind of thing. But it also means that every single one of the and the fact that IRC is very central to these things also means that an IRC channel can and often will become less a place where work is appreciated and expected and from each other and all that, and more a place where people sort of expect or are used to people talking about the same shit they can talk about in a million different places on the internet. I mean, frankly, I don't think the problem with the internet in the world right now is that there are too few places where people can bullshit, talk about weed they like to smoke or shit like that, mention their relationships, whatever. I think there's plenty of places for that right now, without bringing it into operational channels and even just regular, just mainstream lobby channels, which I think are best left to being discussions about the actual issues that Anonymous pursues. So that's one of the things, and actually the format.
There's a great deal of trolling that goes on. You're right, and it detracts away.
And Anonymous never really got over its origins, not completely, despite what people, most fags like myself, would have liked if we had a say in it, which we don't. But I guess the solution for people like me is really to. And there's a lot of others out there as well who haven't been involved in activism yet and probably wouldn't fit in Anonymous. There needs to be more options for them. There needs to be more sort of formats. There needs to be more groups. There needs to be and more leadership, which is something that obviously non frowned upon, but which is sometimes useful in spurring people to action. It's just the fact that it is. So beyond the purview of Anonymous, that's the kind of work I'm trying to do right now in terms of this system I'm trying to build with David House. And hopefully, and again, as I said last time, the more people who spend more time on this problem in terms of how to get people involved, how to make it easy for them, how to give them the best tools and the best ideas gleaned from what's worked in the past, the more of that's done, people who spend their time doing that, that's a great impact right there. If you can facilitate the act of other people spending their time the next few years working on this, you've done a lot for the movement. So that's something that I hope people who are technically capable or who have have an idea, I hope they will think very strongly about trying to move on that, trying to find people to help them with it. To the extent that I can, if anyone wants to start a group, they can always contact me.
It's all about the action. It's all about the action, and it doesn't matter what your skill set is. There's a job for you. One of the things that I've noticed is, well, you're right. It is very hard to get a loose knit bunch of people organised, but it's. I think you've just got to, as an individual, be your own leader and get involved with the projects and support the projects. I think one of the big problems is people, before they start new projects, maybe getting involved with the current projects that are already available, and they exist in a format and a way because of the people that are involved with them. So if you jump in and make your presence known, and if your idea is good, it will get accepted and it'll it'll sort of move through that individual project itself. It's just about action. More actions need to be taken. Less trolling, more action, more little jobs by many people.
It's every single individual's responsibility when it's a collective like this. And likewise, something that we all forget and should all keep in mind is that the IRC itself, you can still use it, which it's still a very great tool. What else exists? But the work, that most of it doesn't get done in that actual channel. No. So just don't get in the habit of just staring straight at that channel as if things didn't get done that way. You have to have a pastebin open. You should be ready to jot down notes. You have to realize you have to click on some other little box on your fucking computer besides the RC for the things to actually get done. Except to the extent that you're discussing, planning, spreading information. The actual work is not going to be. It's not done there with your friends, and the work tends to get done alone or in groups on pastebin or whatever.
And I think you make a very interesting point there that new blood needs to be made aware of, and that is some patients. People, new blood often joins a channel, and this is why the flaming might start. They join a channel and basically expect to be able to do something straight away. And what they have to realise is it's a little bit of patience. They have to get to know the structure first, get to know what operations and projects are around, and then they can offer some help. And I think, maybe we need to get back to pushing new individuals back through new blood channels where they can be informed and maybe go through a little bit of a process where they learn how to protect themselves, B, what projects are out there, and what ops and how they can get involved. How does your proposed new schematic you're developing solve the problems you want to see addressed within the online activism movements?
Well, of course, a lot of the key parts of it are very specific, and one will have to look at the documentation, which will be in a more complete form pretty soon. I've got a lot done on that. But in general, what I can say is that it focuses more. It's not designed in such a way as that big conversations are going to come up all the time or ever really about what kind of marijuana you're smoking.
Yeah.
Or what when I hack your principal's office, where the fuck these kids sometimes talk about in the channels. It's just not like that.
Yeah.
You're generally connected to, you're encouraged to, and it's most probably connected to just a few people that you're going to be working with in what we call pursuits. And I mean, there's going to be groups that work well and groups that work bad, depending on the leadership, or there's no leadership depending on the totality of the people involved. And it's not really chat oriented. It's really pushing work back and forth oriented. It's structure oriented.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's based around the shared idea that you think these things are so important, these issues are so important that you're going to pursue it in the way you think is most likely to get it done, and with almost no whatever people get from chatting to fucking people on the internet, they don't get that from this. So people who are lonely, want to make friends, they can either stick to IRC or get on drugs or something, and they do this because it's not a social network. This is a work network. And I hope that people fulfill a need that's out there, people like me who don't, who maybe used to enjoy the memes and shit but don't really care anymore and are now pretty angry at governments and want to get some shit done. Yeah. So that's really who it's for. I hope that it will... I think it's going to be useful to some people, definitely.
Yeah, well, all alternatives are good. I see it as a bit of a rebirth of Anonymous in a sense. It's a bit of an evolution process that we're going through at the moment, and a bit painful as it is. It's a needy step, and I do believe we will come out through the other end with a more robust setup in a sense. How do you see things developing with online activism over the next few years?
Well, much like you just said, in terms of moving forward, I mean that's one of the strengths we have to stick to. One of the main advantages of online activism, things like Anonymous that are very amorphous and have very little structure, is that the status quo is not really the thing. Yeah. Institutions that are very, very crafted together and have developed over 100 years slowly, that's the status quo. And their advantages are their disadvantages, and we have to take strength. We have to pursue our advantages, otherwise we're going to lose.
That's right.
We may lose anyway.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. In terms of what I hope to see and what I think we'll see more of is this extended network of independent groups, each pursuing things with their own methodology, their own structure or non-structure, but also keeping in contact and collaborating when they can, when they find it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And existing in a large, again, a very large network, or almost a gene pool, almost a ecology of activism, in which people can adapt and see what people are doing right and adapt that to their own groups and all that. And everyone has a choice. If they want to go to a group where someone's leading, or several people are leading, or there's a structure, they can do that. Others can go to an anarchic group where no one can tell anybody what to do. And, everyone is happy in that way. Yeah. And those who really want to be productive, but still everyone's sharing their ideas.
That's a philosophy that I've tried to push with this radio project from day one. Actually, it seems to be working. We're like I said, going out across multiple networks. We're collaborating with all the different anon groups, and in that way, it allows ideas to be shared and also skill sets to be shared, and also messages to be debated about. So it is a philosophy, I think, that needs to be sort of taken on by different anon groups, and I'm starting to see more and more of it happen every day. What can you say to the average anon, to make things more productive within the movement? What do you think they should be doing?
I'll tell you that pretty much all of us, even those of us, and both of our friends who have suffered legal consequences or who otherwise have their life damaged, none of us are going to go through anything close to the risk and the damage that people coming before us in all of our countries have gone through in the last 100 years or whatever in achieving the rights that we enjoy right now. No matter how screwed up things are, we do have in the West fundamental rights that many do not enjoy. Yeah. And each of us has a choice to make. Either we can be a leech off of that, and we can fuck around on Facebook and think about ourselves and our friends and our relationships all day long, just like most of the Americans do, while our empire runs away from it. Or, as long as you're going to be call yourself an anon, or whatever you want to call yourself, and whatever you want to feel about yourself in terms of you in the world, you can actually put forth several hours a week of actual productive work you think through and pursue in order to give something back to the society that has given you what you have. That's a mentality that either we have it and we'll win, or at least we'll have a chance to win, or we don't have it, we'll become exactly like the institutions, the cultures that have been so ineffective as to make Anonymous necessary.
Yeah, definitely. Look, interesting philosophies there. I'm actually in agreement with them. Like I said, that some of those principles I've tried to apply to the groups that I'm involved with, and I have seen some positive changes. And Anon was hit pretty hard, going back not long ago, and big chunks out of it were taken. But I do see a regrowth period, and I do see positive signs. So I think we all just got to persevere a bit and push forward and move on and do our thing, and hopefully we grow and get stronger as time goes on, mate. Look, thanks for coming on. Anything else you want to do? Share with us before we move on.
I think this trap wire thing is so important. That's what I would leave you with. Just looking. But as I mentioned, we have on our wiki, echelon2.org, we have our page on Keep Corporation, which now owns Abraxas, the firm that managed Trapwire, and you can see the connection there between that and persona management and all these other things that we're now facing. The public still doesn't know about, and that we can teach them about if we learn about it ourselves and take the time to do this work. Yeah,
maybe there should be an op for Abraxas in general, op Trapwire, and
there should be.
Yeah, maybe there should be an op Trapwire, and some of the aims with that op should be maybe getting that information out to the public first and foremost, and second, trying to find out who the DDoS attackers are maybe on WikiLeaks and why they're trying to silence them. Yeah, maybe maybe we can start that one today. If any
that op starts tomorrow, if that op starts tomorrow, I'll just jack off to the thought of it. I mean, that would make me as happy as hell.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. It's definitely showing. I mean, it's a conspiracy theory at the moment, but as far as the attack on WikiLeaks, but that's sort of silencing. But I believe the proof could be found, and I believe an operation. Maybe some resources could be put forward towards that. Look, thanks for having you back on the show, mate. It's always good to have you on, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon.
Thanks again for doing the show all together.
All right. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Yeah, that was Barrett Brown. You know him well. If you don't, check it out. You must be new to Anonymous. Always great to have him on the show. Very insightful bloke, and he is right. I do believe in those philosophies that he's talking about, and that he does do a lot for Anonymous, and it is all about action. And whether you disagree or agree with his methods, you have to respect the guy for the amount of time he does put in and the work effort. And I think some of that needs to rub off on some of the other guys and ladies. But you're with LoraxLive.